Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1007. I have been looking for you. I said I was going to try and at least do one more chapter review before the latest chapter came out, and I'm a bit late on time of doing this, but I figured better late than never. And I want to try I really wanted to follow up from the last chapter in which Luffy revealed himself to be the Sun God to Bonnie, or Bonnie learned the truth, more of that, and the return of the giant warrior pirates as the backup for the Straw Hats for the arc. And then you want to give my thoughts on how it plays out on the next chapter. Now, before we begin with that, we're just going to talk about the One Piece cover. Let's see, the reader request, Beppo pouting after finding Law napping with a snow leopard by Rinko, in which we see Beppo being a bit, pouting and also pouring some tea into the leopard's mouth. So I'm not sure if he's trying to annoy it or just cause it some trouble, but it looks like he's got a bat ready to perhaps hit it. But yeah, but you've got Law just sleeping on it, which is kind of nice. Well, napping, like it said. You've got one of those little snot bubbles out of Law, so that's kind of fun. It's just nice cover, and it's it's nice seeing Law and Beppo, I guess, because that's probably a duo we're going to see again at some point. If I had to guess, maybe even in Elbaf. I assume maybe Kid will also show up, but that's just me being hopeful. But anyway, it's a nice cover. But anyway, on to the actual chapter. It begins with a double spread of let's see, Doggy and Brogy telling Omi and Kashi, revealing that they are there with a bunch of other giants. Ritzy and the crew telling them to deploy their soldiers and destroy any of the enemy ships along the way, and also to avoid any cannon attacks, which they all go, aye, sir, and as they're all prepared to charge, you see a bunch of giants jumping off the ship, charging out into battle as you got the giants marching, and Ritzy giving the Straw Hats the reinforcements with Ritzy Marines just talking about how it's been years since they've seen the legendary giant pirate, and also confirming that both Ritzy the Red, Brogy the Red Ogre, and Dory the Blue Ogre are leading the battle. Let's see. So, and questioning why on earth they're here now, as we just see them pretty much jumping out. Let's see, destroying one of them, I think, destroying a ship, or about to hit one, but yeah. We, which seems to be the case. It's the follow-up chapter. We see that giant destroy a ship, as the Marines just pretty much announce that the giant pirates have made landfall, and telling that all forces try and wipe out the giants, as we see some of them on the ship, probably staying guard, if I had to guess. But we then cut to Usopp, who's with the other of the weakling trio, looking down and crying tears of joy when he sees Doggy and Brogy calling them his masters, and asking what on earth they're doing here, shouting out their names. Nami points out Omi and Kashi are here too, thinking that they must have gone back to collect their captains in Little Garden. Chopper getting excited for Omi and Kashi because he knows those giants, not Ogi and Brogy. And we also see that Edison is with them. Let's see. With Usopp crying, happy as he thought that they're glad that they're here, because he thought he would not actually see them in Elbaf. And then we get a little sort of refresh of the giant pirates, explaining about how long ago, about how the giants' history were being a feared crew for 100 years. Until a fighting spat happened between the two captains, which ended up being which Ritzy Sea King they caught was larger. Kind of Ritzy silly reason to fight, really, but it just fits One Piece, especially since Zoro and Sanji did the same thing later. Ritzy. And then talk about how Luffy and his crew crossed them, and you see Vivian little bubble thinkers. This was one of the two adventures that Vivi kind of went on with the Straw Hats before Alabasta, and briefly mentions about how they encountered their subordinates who were trying to check on the captain, not really bringing up the fact that they met them in the lobby when they encountered like Rob Lucci and all that stuff. So I'm a little disappointed in that bit of the narrate, that little recap, but I think it's fine. It's mainly just Doggy and Brookie that they're trying to emphasize on. So yeah. So anyway, they're going to get saying that Edison talking about how they're talking about attacking Navy ships and surprised that the Straw Hats actually know them. And they talk, and he must have, he realized they must have read the papers, which surprises Usopp. But then Edison says it must have been spread all over the world. It's a big military option, though probably more in the Marines' favor due to propaganda. And Usopp realizing that makes sense. But he's crying tears of joy, thinking that the Giants aren't really here to wage a war. They come here to try and help them. So he gets everyone to say, hey, we got to hurry up and help. We'll get ready for them to take us. And then we cut back to like Brock and Lilith the Evil, yeah. Let's see, Brock, with Nami contacting Brock, with Nami asking where he is, saying that they're just they're just passing through, making a bit of a tea jug, but Lilith, as Brock is trying to drink it, but Lilith is just getting annoyed and slapping him to say, stop that, or to stop the ship. They're saying that if they're not careful, they're about to hit the barrier. And then Lilith contacts Nami, telling them that Brock there's no idea how to stop them, and he's being an idiot. So they need help. And then we see Jinbei flying with his like shoe things to where commenting about the chaos that's going about, but thinking how they need to leave at the moment, and going on about how Zoro, it's not really time for him to be fighting, as he's still trying to find him. And then we actually finally, after what I think is quite a few chapters, get back to like Zoro and Rob Lucci, as we see Zoro and him clashing with swords and claws, with Zoro commenting about how let's see, how this is taking longer than planned, and it's like he wants to wrap this up with Rob Lucci mocking him. Is that really what a Victor should be saying? Calling Zoro a dead weight, and that's holding his friends back, and saying that mocking the crew of being a pack of fools and are able to cut like a single member from the good for the good of the rest. Thinking it's going on about Zoro being dead weight, so saying that it's his fault, Zoro's fault, that as long as he's alive, their friends are trapped here. But let's see, Zoro just reports that saying, retorts that you're acting like you're the one in control of this fight, but in control on how long this fight is. But he's pretty much in saying that he's pretty much the one that's actually in control at the very least, or at least Rob Lucci's acting a bit too smug, I guess. I guess I'm over-explaining it, sorry. But yeah, he says that if you're the one in control of how long we fight Rob Lucci, implying that Zoro's going to try and end it soon. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, we start to see let's see, Hephaestus shooting more Marine ships. With like one of the Marines asking how much damage there are. Apparently, the casualties have been at least 30 small and medium-sized ships, and the numbers are rising. And then we get one of the vice admirals saying that all small and mid-sized ships to pull back. And the battleships are only to be at the front. So thinking that they're getting nowhere with this if they're just having the small ships, so just have the big ones fire. And we have a Marine spawn going, yes, sir. And we're feeling that this Marine is Vice Admiral Red King. And my understanding, this is a reference to a dragon-like kaiju monster from the Ultraman Japan movie series, and that's what his neck, because his neck looks like what one of the Ultraman characters looks like. With the Admiral going about how has this all gone so terribly wrong, that they're attacking their own military weapons, and we see the Marines firing at the pacifistas. and it seems to have like shot it and knocked it down, taking one of them out at the very least. Then we cut back to the Straw Hats, where where Luffy and the others is, where Luffy is asking Bonnie, as we see them all from their pose of when they're looking up with Luffy and Vegapunk on the floor there. Luffy asking her why she's like crying, and Bonnie going like, "Of course I'm crying. He's been looking for him," with Luffy saying like, but we've been together the entire time. But she says like, "But I didn't know you were Nika." Luffy has no idea what Nika is, and then asks about a punch. But Bonnie's saying how she want to try and hit him with rubber, but like his. So she asks Luffy if he can show him how to do it, and like do it for like also Vegapunk, because and they need to get off this island. With Luffy then doing the cartoon shocked eyes of bubbly eye things are like, "What? Vegapunk, what happened?" With let's see, Saturn going about how they're stupid eggs and insects. Let's see, going about how they're worthy of death, pretty much, just rambling like a world noble, pretty much. And Luffy decides this resorts about no, there isn't, but it says, "Okay, Barney, he'll do what she asked." And showing her how to throw a punch, as we see Luffy spinning in a sort of like I guess you could say like a sort of cartoon round up Popeye like ready punch thing. Saturn tries to use one of his, I think, his stare ability, which seems to blow Luffy's head back, but Luffy's fine and starts to get a bit more serious and says, and goes like, "You hurt about how to like Saturn about how he hurt his friend," so he's now using a Gum Dawn Gatling, using a Gatling move with Gear 5 and doing a barrage of punches, sending Saturn flying. Granted, not as satisfying as when Kuma did it, but still pretty satisfying, as we see Saturn being punched out, flying, with Bonnie and Kuma looking on, and Vegapunk closing his eyes. I'm not sure he's smiling about what Luffy did, but you see Luffy just spinning with his Gatlings, and you see just how far Saturn's crashing. With then Frankie telling Barney that we got to get away, and with Atlas saying that they need to use the hover functions to be able to fly low altitude within the island borders, and but Arnie's trying to get Vegapunk to go, but Vegapunk tells Barney to go on ahead. And he knows, and being a science, he knows a lot about medical science as well, and realizes that if he moves from now, he will die, which just shocks Bonnie. With then Kizaru just telling them that they'll die whether he moves or not, and just tells him to accept his fate. But we see Kizaru closing his eyes. Bonnie looks up towards, and Sanji props his most impressive feat in the post time skip. Kicks Kizaru's laser, preventing it from hitting Bonnie, and let's see, Vegapunk completely seemingly just blowing it away, shocking Kizaru, giving the most shocked face he's ever had, not even when he fronted the sun god Nika, and Frankie going like, "Ah! Are you kidding me? That was a laser beam!" Shocked that Sanji actually was able to blow away a kick with a laser with a kick, and Sanji going like, "Love is stronger than light," with oops, sorry, I accidentally turned on my TV. Let me just turn that off. Sorry about that. Got the remote. Let's see. There we go. But yeah, pretty much that. And let's see, Kizaru talking about if that was the case, then physics as we know it is dead. Frankie, Barney, Atlas, and Kuma using their sort of hover boots flying away, with Atlas telling them that they need to go to the northwest shore, as that's where they're supposed to go for the ship. With Kizaru saying about how, well, this pretty puts him in a bind, and says that he needs to at least take the Straw Hats' heads, otherwise he can't really save face back at HQ. Luffy's just laughing and bouncing about, but Sanji says, "Well, you better start writing up a formal apology," as he's just smoking. But then we cut to Saturn, who is just recovering from the rubble, And then we see a footprint on the floor, talking about how mocking the five elders about how far they seem to have fallen. And then it's revealed to be none other than Kaverina Devan from the Blackbeard's pirate crew. And she's here with Vanguard. Let's see, the sniper. With her talking about what kind of powers that Saturn may have. And apparently going on about how she's never heard the five elders coming down to the real world from the lofty peach. But says that it's quite helpful for them as she then touches one of Saturn's legs, talking about this is their mission complete. And we then, of course, get more of a close-up of like Van Arga and Kaverina Devan, about which, let's see, Vanguard being the third captain ship and also his warp fruit, and Devan being the sixth captain and her mythical type model nine-tailed fox of the dog fruit, with Saturn demanding why on earth they're here, and him commenting about how Captain is surprised that someone like her, a savage from level 6, would submit to someone like Blackbeard, with Devan talking about but teaches special, as Saturn goes like so, as is his bloodline, with them being a bit surprised that Saturn seems to be aware of that. And let's see, Saturn asking, like, you people are always up to strange businesses, so what are they really after? With Van Arga saying the world in a very badass-like way, as he's just looking on. Saturn tries to attack them, but they teleport out of here. And you just got Saturn just looking on, realizing they've disappeared. And then we cut to, like, back to where they are, let's see, Van Arga and Devan have teleported, saying that Van Arga saying they should be on their way. With Kaverina Devan saying that you're just we're still on the island, can you have warped us further? But Van Arga says that he's still training, implying he's still trying to get used to his devil fruit powers. And then we see none other than Karibu pleading to Blackbeard pirates to wait up, excited to meet them. Calling out, let's see, the two names. Calling him, signing him as Karibu, a humble pirate that's been at their service and been looking for them. And that saying that there's a certain someone has inspired him, and it's his lifelong dream to be one of Blackbeard's goons, and implying that's him. And then asked them to let him, let's see, get on board as he wants to meet him in person, and begs them, ending the chapter with him crying to get recruited, ending the chapter. Anyway, overall thoughts. Anyway, I just love seeing the Giants just marching there, and I'm glad that it's not just Dougie and Brookie. I mean, granted, the last chapter implied that they were there, but we only saw those two. But it's also Omi and Kashi. It's nice to see them again, and it's interesting because it seems like those two seem to be it seems to imply that those two are some of the more main members of the crew, and not just just regular old grunts. So I'm not sure if they're like the right hand men or like the sort of like officers to the captains, like first mates, if you will. Granted, some might think that Omi and Kashi are not that strong because of how the Frankie family might have took one of them out at one point. But I think that was just some rare circumstances. But they're clearly been trusted to lead the Giants to charge while to destroy marine ships. But yeah, I really do like just seeing the Giants march. In many ways, it kind of reminds me. Granted, I really haven't really fully watched. Let's see, the Lord of the Rings Twin Towers, but I have read the books. But you've got the last March of the Ents, so it's kind of like an army of so pretty much you got an army of giants marching to war. So that's always cool to see, and we just see how powerful these giants are, with one of them just casually destroying a ship. So I do like that, and I love that we got Usopp's reaction to them, and it's the fact that he's seeing his two mentors there. And I do like how you've got Nami pointing out Omi and Kashi being there too, and possibly picking them up. And because it's like she at least knows both sets of giants. Same with Usopp, but Chopper only knows like Omi and Kashi. So I do like how he reacts to that. It's just kind of just funny to think back how Chopper was just introduced one arc after like the Straw Hats met the giants, so he missed out on meeting Doggy and Broggy. So I'm very curious to see how Chopper interacts with let's see, Doggy and Broggy if he gets the chance. We'll have to wait and see. And but yeah, I do glad, yeah, and it does give me hope that there's going to be a lot more, and that for many people is that Usopp is going to get a lot of focus when we get to Elbaf. So yeah, and the fact that he's being emphasized here hopefully implies it. Now, granted, I think let's see, the only real concern is being the fact that, despite the fact that Egghead is an arc that starred Vegapunk, while Frankie had a bit of a passive-aggressive role, he never really had any major, I guess, character development roles. So there's that. But I think for Usopp, Elbaf is going to be his arc, and he's going to play some major role in it. He's not probably going to be like the center role, but it's arguably probably going to be one of the ones that plays the big Straw Hats that plays the biggest role here. I do like the sort of let's see, mini cartoon narration. I kind of like how they've all got their noses pointing up. Kind of think it's kind of like silly like that. Though I am a little disappointed that we that the narration didn't really explain too much where the Straw Hats met Omi and Kashi, but it's like they met them in an anonymous lobby. Same with Rob Lucci. You think with a cat, let's see, they would mention that fact when Rob Lucci's also here. Which we're probably not going to see it, but I really would like to see Rob Lucci's reaction to the fact that the two giants that used to guard Ennis Lobby are here, and now they're attacking the world government again. So it's like that. But I do like how Edison is able to deduce that that they're probably here. They must have read the newspaper, deduce that it's since it's such a large marine military operation. Let's see, it would be reported, and it'd also be, of course, reported in more in the Marines' favor, as we know that Big News Morgans. Let's see, put it in more in the Marines' favor just to make the story a bit more exciting. Of like, Straw Hat kidnaps Vegapunk, the Marines are rushing to try and rescue him, which when in fact it's the complete opposite. But I do like how Usopp is just crying tears of joy, realizing that his masters have come to help them. And it's like, and then wants to say that, and then as a result of this, wants to get everything ready for their arrival to come and take them away. Let's see, the Brock and the other thing is more of just a bit of a brief catch up, though it does have a little funny moment of Brock relaxing for his tea, and this like, this is serious. Don't let's see, take this serious, as when Brock has a habit of relaxing in very serious situations. But at the very least, let's see, Lilith informs Nami what's going on. So this makes me predict that perhaps Nami, Usopp, and Chopper will try and find a way to stop the Sunny with Edison. So there's that. Let's see, Jinbei. We still learn that Jinbei, of course, isn't arrived at Zoro Rob Lucci's fight, so it means he's probably not going to end up helping Zoro finish the fight. So at the very least, I'm hoping that for the very least, I think many people are hoping that Zoro, well, if you're a Zoro fan, hoping that Zoro's able to finish Rob Lucci before Jinbei arrives, and not have like Jinbei pull an assist to make Zoro defeat his opponent. He's having trouble by himself. So we have that. But yeah, I will admit I'm still a bit surprised that the fight is going on. It seems to be a bit of a stalemate at the moment. For some people, this is a sort of bit of a, well, at least when the time just due to the fact that Sanji got a very impressive feat this chapter, and so I was taking forever against Rob Lucci. May have it's really sparked like the Zoro versus Sanji fandom debate, between its fans, with this, for many people, seeing this a bit of an L for Zoro and a bit of a W for Sanji, even no matter how brief it might be. So, like that, because Zoro seems to be taking his time and is getting mocked for it, but Zoro seems to at least imply that with the way Zoro's talking, it seems that at least imply that he's hoping to try and finish this off soon, or at least being able to, he's at least mostly in control of the fight. But yeah, it's clear taking control. Now, granted, I guess it does. The fact that Rob Lucci is handling Zoro so long does seem to come to the belief. Let's see, my belief that Rob Lucci, at the very least, is Yonko Commander level, maybe just slightly stronger. We do not know where he scales against maybe the likes of Katakuri and King. Though, granted, at the very least, I assume that he's stronger than those two, probably. As he's doing quite a good, doing well to hold up. Granted, I assume at some point we're going to get at least maybe one chapter, covering like the Rob Lucci versus Zoro fight, just from beginning to end. I could be wrong. Or maybe it'll just go by very quickly. We don't know yet. At the moment, this has probably been like the biggest, longest off-screen fight for Zoro I can think of. Granted, I need to be rereading some of Zoro's previous fights, particularly against King. Mr. One and Kaku. But yeah. Oh yeah. But I probably forgot to mention that when I was talking about the Giants, that I've been recently rereading Little Gardens, so it's arguably the best timing that I got to see the Giants there. But but at the moment, it seems to be a stalemate, and it doesn't seem to be ending soon. And if Zoro fans hoping that Zoro might be able to take down Rob Lucci sooner, so that he can probably join whatever else is going on. But at the moment, I definitely say I still think it's pretty impressive of Rob Lucci to hold on as long as he did. And who knows? But I will expect Zoro to probably finish up this fight at some point, whenever Oda does go back to it. Anyway, we also learn one of the Vice Admirals, Gritty Red King, so it's nice with that. I've already talked about the reference to Ultraman. I think it's fine. He seems to be a no-nonsense Marine, and seems to value like the military assets that the Navy has, and seems to not really want to destroy the Pathistas. But I do like how we've got some updates on the casualties. At least on the Marine side, they've lost 30 ships. So if I had to guess, they have probably lost. There's about at least 30,000 Marines here on this Egghead, Island Incident, and now Buster Call. At the very least, probably the Marines have at most 10,000 casualties. I'm not sure how many Marines have been taken out and how many were on board those medium-sized and small ships, because they're those size, but at the very least, a maximum of 10,000 Marines have been taken out of the fight. All that, but at the very least, so it's like a third of the forces are gone. Now, granted, I'm not interested, and that's probably not going to imply that that means only a third of the fight, the third of this current war battlefield, if you will, is taken care of. But I assume that the casualties will probably rise with the arrival of the Giants. Though granted, I'm not sure if this is just the Pathistas of the total amount of casualties, or they're including the Giants, but I assume it's mostly the Pathistas before that. But at the very least, I do like how we're seeing Marines with we know that at the very least that the small, medium-sized ships seem to be doing poorly against Pathistas, but we see with this one that the more big battleship ones seemingly able to take down the Pathista units. So at the very least, we are getting casualties on the Straw Hat and SSG Vegapunk Science Division. So I do like that we seem to be getting it's not an entirely one-sided massacre, but at the very least, the Pathistas are more the advantage of the Straw Hats. But they are taking a few casualties when you have the more big battleships firing on them, or at least the Vice Admirals taking them down. So there is at least that. Anyway, I just love the sort of like gritty interactions you have with like Luffy and Bonnie in this chapter, and it's like let's see, Bonnie's like let's see, just crying about how she's waited so long for like Nika, and Luffy's just being so confused. It's like I've been here all the time. It's like, who is Nika? Which at the very least, Luffy has now finally heard the name Nika for the first time. Granted, he still doesn't know what Nika is, or that he's actually going to be regarded as Nika from now on. But at the very least, he just seems to all having fun. Granted, some of his shocked reactions seem to be, perhaps for some people, seem to be a bit poor timing with the tone. Though granted, this seems to be more of the nature of the devil fruit, but it does look like he's getting serious in one panel. And I do like how let's see, he's asking about Bonnie's punch, and then Luffy says, let's see, Bonnie says, I'm trying to do a rubber punch. Can you show me? And he says, like, sure. And in many ways, this is sort of setting up Luffy with Bonnie joining the Straw Hats as like the cabin girl, like the apprentice, learning from Luffy. So Luffy's going to probably have some sort of mentorship role at the end of this. So being a sort of teacher to Bonnie, showing her all kinds of like gum abilities, which she's probably going to try and copy. I do like that we actually get to see a bit of a Gatling. Though granted, it seems to be more of like a giant Gatling rather than the standard smaller ones, but I think that's fine. I mean, nothing's going to really top the Gatling that Luffy did against Rob Lucci, but either way, it's still kind of satisfying just to see Saturn punched and sent flying. Interesting enough, Barney has been told to Frankie. Sadly, Frankie is not staying around to continue the fight, but he seems at the very least taking Barney out of here. Which and unfortunately, they seem to be leaving the main Vegapunk and Ritzy behind, and it seems to imply that he is now dying. If he moves, he dies. Now, of course, I'm not going to say what happens in the next two chapters. I don't know about whether or not this confirms Vegapunk is dead or alive, but at the very least, I think many people, when this chapter came out, were like skeptical that Vegapunk is actually going to die just because of previous One Piece history of like no matter how badly damaged a character is, and like how much on death's door they might be, they still end up being alive afterwards. The biggest example, of course, is Kimimon. After being whacked by Kaido and stabbed, he still ended up surviving. It's because he wasn't fully attached due to Law's devil fruit powers from before. Which is kind of silly, but that is what it is. But it looks like Vegapunk, at the very least, appears to be dying. At least for the moment, that he's unable to move, but we'll have to wait and see. As it is, like that's the kind of worst kind of condition you can have on the battlefield. As Kizaru has just readily pointed out that he's trying to shoot him, which interesting. I think the most interesting thing here is Vegapunk. Kizaru is closing his eyes just when he's about to shoot Barney and Barney and Vegapunk. And I think this is still to imply that he still doesn't really want to do it, so he's just and doesn't really want to look, so he's still trying to take him out. It's like he's still obeying the Marines or the world government's orders to try and take it out, but he's clearly not liking it, and it's like showing the more unclear conviction that you have of Kizaru about seemingly being a Marine cog in the machine, but also being very reluctant to do so. So that's still the case. But really, what was the most hype moment of this chapter was like Sanji kicking Kizaru's laser. That's like that is arguably in the most impressive feat against Kizaru's lasers. Besides Luffy just punching him in the head like he did Ritzy in the first fight, and Egghead, and it's just like it's so impressive that you even got Kizaru making a shocked face. That is like what someone actually like this is impossible kind of thing. He didn't even make a sort of like a shocked face. Then Luffy was in his Gear 5 mode, which is usually like the norm with that. But you've got Frankie doing more of like the shocked. Even Frankie seems shocked because like it's like a laser. Now, granted, Sanji's logic about it being love stronger than light. Clearly, it's just probably Sanji just thinking what it is, and it's also kind of similar to like when he was fighting a shark, but likely him thinking that's like his burning passions and love and all that stuff. But it's probably more of actually his Gemma abilities, as we see the eyebrow thing, whether or not Sanji likes to admit it or not. But I do like Kizaru's like resort about this. If that's true, physicists we know it would be dead. Thinking that Sanji's reasoning defies logic. But it's like arguably it's like this is like a very huge win for like let's see, Sanji fans. Granted, I won't say what happens in the next few chapters, but many people have pointed out that let's see, it's a win. Let's see, take the Sanji fans should take the win as long as it can, because usually, sometimes, unfortunately, whenever Sanji sometimes gets a win, he also gets an L afterwards. But we'll have to wait and see. But it's pretty hyped as it looks. This chapter seems to imply that Sanji is now going to join Luffy as they fight Satin and Kizaru, as in a similar manner to like I guess Luffy and Sanji versus like that one member of Gritzy Ano's group from Skypiea. I've forgotten his name. I think it's Pito or something. I could be wrong, but and also the fact that this is probably the first time since like Along Park it appears that Sanji is fighting the stronger subordinate than Zoro. As Zoro's currently fighting Rob Lucci, Sanji's now seemingly joining to fight Kizaru. And he's seemingly also getting like a really badass line about how Kizaru should write his apology letter when he's thinking like, if I don't take you guys' heads, let's see, I'll never be able to show my face to Marines. But yeah. But it is also, like I said earlier, disappointing that Frankie's not joining in the fight. I figured, let's see, Frankie at the very least should have gotten should get like an cool action moment in this arc, since like Vegapunk is his idol and he's trying to help him. But that's not being the case. But the most intriguing bit here of this chapter, arguably Sanji got the coolest moment, but the most intriguing bit in this chapter is the arrival of the Blackbeard pirates. Like everyone's expected, Camarita Devon was actually there on the Blackbeard ship heading to Egghead. But the surprise is like Van Argosen being here, because many people thought it would be Laffite, the fourth captain of the Blackbeard pirates. Hold on a sec, people. I just need to get a drink. Yeah, everyone thought it would be Laffite, not Van Argo, because like Van Argo was with Blackbeard when they were fighting Law. But it seems his teleporting powers got him to like where Katarina Devon is for a while, probably just to try and help her out from this on Egghead Island, so she could do her mission. And see, so it kind of gives like makes Van Argo's feet more impressive, because he seems to be all over the place in this arc. The cover story with him with Aokiji capturing Pudding, him assisting Blackbeard against Law, and now here. Granted, I'm a bit wondering if it makes sense with like the timeline of it all, but I assume at the very least the moment Law's crew was defeated, he teleported to Katarina Devon's ship, and then they teleported to Egghead Island. At least that's what I assume the logic is. So yeah, I do like how she seems to be kind of mocking the Satin a bit about how we've got a 5-star elder here on the surface, and I do like how we learned that the mission, the reason the Blackbeard pirates are here, was to try and have Katarina Devon touch a 5-star elder for some purpose we do not know yet, which many people are assuming it's either one, giving the Blackbeard pirates a way to transform to one of the 5-star elders so they can give commands to the Sephram if they encounter them again, because we saw Blackbeard was actually kind of terrified of the Mihawk one. Well, S-Hawk when he encountered them back on Amazon Lily. Or the other one is pretty more like a more sinister long-term endgame plan, is that Carrie Devon infiltrates the world with Marie-Georges as Saint Saturn, uses like whatever influence she can to with like pretending to be Saint Saturn to help Blackbeard's goals of getting like being recognized as official country in the world government, and also perhaps whatever else kind of secrets they can do there, as some people are hoping for like more Blackbeard's long term to try and take over the world when he gets access to Marie-Georges. So there's that. And I do like how Saturn is a bit confused why they're here, but also curious about Karina Devon's reasoning for joining Blackbeard, because a pirate like her normally wouldn't really submit under someone like, let's see, Blackbeard. But I do like how Devon just points out that Blackbeard's is special, and you have Saturn going about, oh, it's its bloodline, which has led to all kinds of witty discussions and possibilities. The most ones that are fans talking about the bloodline being his D thing, which many are wondering if it's Rob D. Sebek, as people seem to assume that he seems to have some connection to Rob Sebek, as he seems to have inherited his will. Or is that Blackbeard might actually be something like a buccaneer, which might explain why he is able to have two devil fruit abilities, since they seem to have this other special ability. But but I do really like this conversation. I do like how Saturn's confused, tries to ask them what the Blackbeard pirates are after, and with Van Arga going about the world. I mean, this panel alone is just Ritzy epic, and Ritzy Sandia probably had the most badass action scene, but Van Arga seems to have the most badass sort of character moment with like telling like the Ritzy world government that their goal is the world, and they might be in charge right now, but they are aiming for the top. And granted, arguably this panel alone, the stuff with Carrie Devon touching Saturn and possibly getting his likeness for her devil fruit, as well as Van Arga's speech in the world, has given a very good argument, and probably the best argument that the Blackbeard pirates have had probably for a very long time, that they might actually be the final opponents, or at the very least Blackbeard might be the final opponent, instead of like, say, the world nobles and Emu. Granted, I'm still probably favoring Emu and the world government, because they at the moment look a bit stronger, even though Saturn was sent flying this chapter against Luffy. He's still at the moment, I'd say they still look like the more intimidating force, and it doesn't really help that the fact that half the Blackbeard pirates have gotten their kind of butts kicked in like quite a lot in this Egghead arc. So it's like they still seem like they still, at the very least, they're still the final pirate antagonists. I'm just not sure if they're the final antagonists, as it looks like the Straw Hats might end up fighting the world nobles as the final opponents. But arguably, this chapter has made for those who are arguing for Blackbeard as the final villain and the Blackbeard pirates, this chapter has made like arguably the best case for it to possibly happen. Well, granted, it could all end up being a three-way battle between the world government, the Blackbeard pirates, and the Straw Hats and their friends, for the sake of the what kind of world the world of One Piece will be at the end. So I do like that, and I do like how once they've got their objectives, they're just trying to get away here, and it's interesting, and it does seem to also give us confirmation that Van Arga's abilities are relatively new, as he's still training, as Kavina Devon wanted him to teleport them out of the island. So it seems that there's at least limits to like Van Arga's devil fruit abilities, at least for the time being. I'm pretty certain by the time he actually fights Usopp, which I think everyone suspects that's his opponent, he'll probably have a fully mastered devil fruit. At the very least, he can teleport more of where he wants to. But the big reveal is that Caribou is actually a Blackbeard fanboy, in a similar manner to like Bartolomeo is a fanboy to Luffy, and actually became a pirate because he wanted to, because he was inspired by Blackbeard and wants to join his crew, or at the very least be one of his underlings, and asking like Van Argo and Devon to take him with him, though granted pleading in a rather commercial way, but at the very least, it is still like shocking, and I just it's still a bit well, not really shocking. I think many people suspected that he was going to try and go to Blackbeard. Some predicted Crocodile, but I suppose the one surprising thing is that he had no prior connection to Blackbeard, and just except being just a fanboy. But now he revealed himself to be a fan of Blackbeard. He wants to now join, which is shown just to be more very dangerous and more probably helping for the Blackbeard Pirates case of possibly being final antagonists, because Caribou knows the location of two ancient weapons. Let's see, Pluton and Poseidon, which Shirahoshi and and Pluton underneath Wano, which he can pretty much tell Blackbeard where they are, which could lead to the Blackbeard Pirates attacking those two places. Though granted, if the Blackbeard Pirates do attack those two places, that will likely means that they're picking a fight with the Straw Hats since they're their territories, so that might get them into conflict sooner rather than later. But at the very least, if Blackbeard has at the very least an ancient weapon, be it Poseidon or Pluton, he becomes a lot more dangerous. So if I had to pick, I guess I'd figured Blackbeard would probably steal Pluton over Poseidon, as let's see, Pluton would be much more easier to control. Granted, I believe Laffite could just hypnotize Shirahoshi to command the Sea Kings, because I think he has a bit of a hypnosis ability, but never mind. But either way, let's see. If Caribou is able to join the Blackbeard Pirates, Blackbeard has just become a much more bigger threat. And he's just seemingly rising as more of a bigger threat with just what Carrie and Devon was able to do by touching on the 5-star elders, with like two possibilities of gaining control of the Seraphim, or just possibly infiltrating Rijwa to try and persuade the government to try and make Blackbeard a king so he can go there and try and take the throne, or stuff like that. But yeah, overall, this is a very great chapter. I think for many people, this is like a 10 out of 10 chapter, and arguably, for some people, it's like depending on who you are in the fandom, this is arguably might be the best chapter since Shanks versus Kid. But yeah. But there's like so much to go through and see this. Just seeing the giants marching, Usopp's tears of joy about it. Let's see, finally getting an update on Zoro versus Rob Lucci. Seeing like the battle between Marines and Feasters going down a bit. Barney and Luffy interacting with like Gear 5. And like Bonnie asking Luffy to show him how to punch and just pummeling Saturn. Sanji getting his badass moment with like a kicking laser. And seemingly setting up a Luffy and Sanji versus Kizaru and Saturn fight. And then, of course, the Blackbeard Pirates coming in and just having Karen and Devon just touching what they need, revealing that they actually came for Saturn rather than anything on Egghead Island itself. And also Van Argo revealing that the Blackbeard's goal is the world. And there's also talks of possibly Blackbeard's bloodline. And Caribou joining the Blackbeard Pirates, which, if the Straw Hats do fight the Blackbeard Pirates, I do wonder if that means we're going to get a battle of the fanboys between Bartolomeo and Caribou, but who knows? I'm pretty certain Bartolomeo has shown to be a much more impressive super rookie than Caribou, despite the fact I think Caribou has a higher bounty, but yeah. So like I said, you could either see this chapter as a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, depending on how you feel about how long the Rob Lucci fight is taking. And let's see, minor nitpick like I had about the narration, covering as lobby properly with Omi and Kashi, but that's just like mine. It doesn't really matter. Overall, it is a very great chapter. I'm looking forward to the next one, and I will admit this chapter took longer to give my views, but it just goes to show just how amazing this chapter is. And yeah, I'm done now. So I hope those who end up listening to a review enjoy what I had to say, and I'm looking forward to next time when I review chapter 1108. But for now, I'm Blue Star Saber, signing off. Thank you, goodbye.